President-elect Donald Trump has long boasted about his friendly relationship with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, raising hopes for another Trump-Kim summit. But is Kim on the same page? Let's turn to Professor Christophe Gaudin for more. Good morning.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. In your opinion, how likely is a resumption of diplomacy between the U.S. and North Korea to, something resembling what we saw back in 2018? Because North Korea 6 years ago is not North Korea now.
You're right. What's changed is that 6 years ago, Kim Jong-un was still a relatively new leader. That's why he got such a great deal of high-ranking North Korean officials purged. That's why he executed his very own uncle. And that's also why, as you know, he put such a great emphasis on his nuclear program. Now that his authority is so well established, his only objective, as we can tell, is to aim at maximal isolation. That's even why, as we saw in your previous clip, we are attending this shift of alliance from China to Russia, because China had been voicing sort of a lot of discontent about the chaos that North Korea is causing in the region, while, as you can imagine, Vladimir Putin doesn't care as much for chaos. So here, the main point to keep in mind is that Kim Jong-un is mostly trying for isolation, maximal isolation.
Well, then, are you saying that another Trump-Kim meeting is possible, in the coming months or coming years?
Possible, everything is possible, but I would say unlikely, because after all, I've just said that Kim Jong-un is aiming at maximal isolation, and Trump is an isolationist too. For Trump, as far as we can tell, the rest of the world does not really matter as long as it doesn't bear consequences for America. Now, a few years ago, Trump had been meeting Secretary Kim because he was expecting to be able to reap some benefits domestically. But as this wouldn't happen, and as much as we can say he wants America to be as remote as possible, as his most objective is to distance himself from what is happening in the rest of the world, I really don't see what interest Trump or Kim could possibly find in a summit of this kind.
Well, bringing Kim Jong-un to the discussion table will be quite a challenge, as we all know. But what kind of prerequisites do you think Washington needs or need to have in mind for discussing denuclearization with the regime then?
Well, first, it's always difficult to tell, because now Washington means Trump, and it is always difficult to say what Trump has in mind, in particular regarding international relations.
That's
true.
However,
yeah, that's true. But however, then what Washington will need in the first place will be to be able to check on the progress of denuclearization. And in any foreseeable future, we cannot really expect North Korea to welcome, say, UN inspectors to check on the nuclear devices or installations. So the basic requirement here will be to have inspectors to check how North Korea is or is not pursuing its nuclear program. And this, I think, is not to happen, because it is the very basis that Kim Jong-un has picked in order to cement his rule. So I don't see how it could happen in any foreseeable future.
Well, still at the same time, though, South Korea, we need to make sure that it's not left out of the U.S. North Korea diplomacy, possible North Korea-U.S. diplomacy or any interaction. What should South Korea do or prepare now then?
The main novelty that we have been attending over the last few months, as we saw in your previous clip, is that in the past, China used to be the only real ally North Korea used to have. And now what we can see is that North Korea is slowly distancing itself from China and getting closer to Russia. So therefore, the problem for South Korea is that South Korea cannot really count on the US for the moment, because we cannot expect the US to get too involved in the issue, because US main focus will be on Taiwan, not on Korea. Therefore, the whole point for South Korea should be to pay close attention to what is happening between North Korea and Russia, and possibly as much as possible to try to mitigate the effects of this new North Korean strategy, because you can call Kim Jong-un many things, but he's a skilled chess player. He saw that there was an opportunity for him with this war in Ukraine, and he rushed in. So now the diplomatic relations between South Korea and Russia are, to put it lightly, not what they used to be. And so the issue for South Korea should be to find a way somehow to keep Russia at the negotiation table. There is unfortunately no other way to play it for the time being.
Then what specific actions do you think Trump will take on North Korea's troop deployment to Russia?
Well, that we know for sure, because information has leaked already.
Right.
And we know that Trump is about to end this war in Ukraine as soon as possible. So, in fact, if the war in Ukraine stops, then therefore these troops are to head back to North Korea. And so in this case, the problem is to become non-existent. The whole point, the whole point to keep in mind, it's very simple. For the Trump administration, the point is to erect walls to turn the US into a sort of fortress. Walls along the Mexican border, walls, with a clear-cut separation from Europe, and walls then not to have anything to do with the mess that Russia and North Korea are creating all over the world. So here, long story short, what I think Trump is going to do is to try to withdraw American support to Ukraine as fast as possible, which in this case is to make these troops that North Korea has been deploying in Ukraine irrelevant.
All right, Professor Gaudin, thank you so much for your insight this morning. You have a great day.
Thank you.